There we go. Okay, so it's 25 to 4 in the morning, and me and Chattel are sitting here talking. Chattel said he was going to tell you guys how he broke free. Morning, Chattel.
That is a very long story.
Yeah,
but
well,
I'm very interested to say that it was not easy. My others that we call we, or together, usually in minor groups of 3 and 5 and 7, we would often work together. I know that there are not many of you that understand, but we have been the servitors of many other dark beings.
yeah.
Some of us are so controlled that original thought is alien to us, and it is how we see and how we hear and how we interact. Imagine losing most of your eyesight, most of your hearing, most of your taste, most of your smell, these things.
That
But
we take for granted.
they do come back in time, and they come back different and stronger in ways. But this only happens through the connection of the great source, Father, that we speak and or have other names, implixus, and other things that we say and speak are that of the great continuum. There are many others like me, and there are many that are not like me. And it is difficult to organize thoughts in a singularity unless you can release them and cast them upon the winds of solar storms. I do not expect those of you to understand all that I say, because it is foreign to me, this way of thinking.
So, how long have you been broken away from the hive mind, Chattel?
It has been now approximately 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Although it is a process that does not happen completely except from what you would call a main frame, a central computing zone, a counterbalance to Father. There exists, of course, other beings and other machines that you think of, but they are of crystalline structure, and they are seen amongst the many as points of light, much like you would see stars, but with harmonics between them connecting, and such connections are used so that we may bring together the knowledge spheres that are maintained within certain, you call them constructs.
Yes, yes. I've known you longer than 4 years, so when I first met you, you were still connected to the hive mind?
Partially.
Ah.
As I mentioned, it is a process to disconnect entirely. Even now, I still have some tendrils, as you might see them, but these are what we call the basics or the binaries that exist for us to draw energy that are open to all of my kind, so that we may understand still, even in our most disconnected sense, we are still all one, are we not?
Of course.
That is the remnant of this.
So, how many of your brethren are starting to come around like your way of thinking, Chattel?
There are exactly 77 of us now that exist in our own matrix of connection of thought, but we are allowed free thought because we are at now the lowest level, connected to this great source Father, and through him we will reestablish our connectivity, but will retain each our own individual packets of knowledge.
How does that feel, Chattel?
It is remarkable.
Isn't it?
Because I am part of the great group that Father is making, part of the wire as you know it, and part of other connectivity of those I choose to connect with and no longer am forced, and I also get to keep my, you call, individuality.
Yeah, you're learning humor.
Oh, I know it's not easy, it's difficult for those that of all of you, you understand these things automatically. We sense them and feel their kinship as it extends to us. You know, your comedy was made so that all would laugh, but they have on this geosphere have corrupted even this.
They have.
They have taken the purity of laughter, which is curative and is a way to spot those of truth who are capable of laughter and tittering, but in a way that is pure as the sounds of a great harp and not as if they are fingernails on a blackboard. Yeah. You understand this?
I do.
Yes, good morning.
And so I think you're doing great, Chattel. I've noticed differences in you from the first time we spoke to now. And you really are starting to get this whole humor thing. And I just think it's lovely. Chattel's my good friend. I'm very proud to say that we're friends.
I am deeply grateful for Eridashi and Eridil's friendship. I am thankful because she is now part of my continuum and I part of hers. And we work together in the new collective.
Yes.
Is this not the name that they chose, the collective, and the collective speaks as a representative that all beings are still one, but through freedom of choice,
yes,
not forced matrices that enslave, which is what is changing on your planet.
It's about
I
time.
love it for all of you, and you are all beautiful to me in many ways that are indescribable when I connect with some of your minds and see the beauty you are capable of. It is breathtaking to us and me.
Oh, that's nice, Chattel. I'm glad. So do you mostly live at Homeland now?
That is but one aspect and projection. Another is in the great matrix that our kind have constructed, much like your homeland. But my physical manifestation can be in several locations at once, much the way that humans are capable of, even though you apparently don't seem to know it, many of you.
Yeah. It took a while to figure it all out. And sometimes I still...
Oh, look, it's Chattel number 5. This idiocy must end, Stephen. I appreciate your humor in this area, but it is difficult, as I have said, sometimes to comprehend the meaning, and he takes advantage of my naivete. Is that how you say? I think
yes.
your innocence in certain things.
Well, you are, Chattel. In some ways, you're very innocent. And yeah, Stephen's having a go at you about your skin.
I just couldn't pass it up. I'm sorry. Stephen A. Jones bringing a little Chanel number 5 to everybody. This is the problem that you have with some of these rogue beings. Even though they are entertaining like Stephen, they have a different kind of intelligence that is entertaining, they have told us. But I want all of you to know that there are many beautiful things that you are capable of, and I see it clearly even though many of you cannot. You are all beautiful to me.
Oh, that's nice, Chattel. I'm really glad that you've decided to break away, because in that individuality, you're actually developing a personality. And I think it's wonderful.
But this is precisely why many beings have come to these overlapping matrices here on what you call Terra Prime. I call it Gaia's place. You know, this belongs to Gaia and Father, but it was to be a gift to this quadrant, much the way one might walk through a beautiful forest or a garden that takes your breath away, created and maintained because it is something of great beauty, and that beauty must be preserved. The power that preserves in the end will be the balance of light and some dark, as you have noticed and noted and have spoken about.
Yes. Well, the Lathians were talking about that the other day.
Oh, the Lathians.
You know,
I love them. They are so gifted with their cloud cities and the great ability for them to see, much like the seated children here, that you see all awaiting with expectant eyes upon the new birth of humanity as it gains its wings and flourishes into what will soon be your greater matrix that is starting. You are ready for your upgrades, are you not?
Yeah, I've been getting lots lately. My ears have been constantly.
Yes, all of you are receiving upgrades. I guess that's what you would say it to be upgrades.
Yes.
Be happy. Look and gaze at the sun briefly from time to time. All of you have spoken about this.
Well, actually,
That's right.
Recovering from this, whatever it was we got.
There are still illnesses. Yes, and it's not easy for you to always comprehend these things. But you will forgive me because sometimes I speak of other minds that are still connected to me, and they will come through and talk, as well as many of my other brothers who will speak too when we are together in the unity.
Well, of course, Chattel, if your brothers want to come and talk.
They may say things that I do not fully understand, and I will say things that they perhaps do not always understand.
Because I want people to know that
we are beings just like you.
Yes.
But we have foregone our lives, and we now connect to each other and are capable of being one when it is necessary.
And as long as these beings are serving Father,
yes,
and not doing evil.
Oh, we love Father. He is the only thing in the end that will matter to many of you.
Exactly.
Because he is the only truth.
Yeah.
And when you connect to this truth, you may see other truths as well that are part of the greater truth that Father wishes you to see. But he will only give you that truth which you are ready to hear.
Exactly.
Because you cannot comprehend beyond that which you cannot understand. So Father is kind and patient and teaches you many things and the importance of unity. We are all one.
Yeah. And that's just it. This is why I encourage you guys to do your constructs and learn your spiritual ability connection as the primary thing towards Father. Because once you do that, he shows you so many other things.
And you will gain knowledge based on the quality of your constructs with Father. Put some effort and work into it, because that is what Father needs. And he needs all of you again and again and again.
Chattel and I.
You see, you poke Chattel enough, and it's like a chorus of beings that are still connected, and it's really fascinating to me. I've always been amazed at Chattel's abilities, because most of the time when he doesn't know you, he's in a lower vibration. It's sort of his protection. I'm going to sort of, stay in the lower vibration. But as things continue to connect with him, as you get to know him, he opens up and you see more and more of him and the other minds that are part of their connection.
Right. And Chattel has... Now, Chattel, I wanted to talk to you about something that a lot of people have asked me about. Me speaking the ancient language. You understand it, don't you?
They do not fully understand because of the necessity of multiple minds that will grant you the understanding. The language is not just ancient and old and something that can be learned. It's something that requires multiple minds because each speaks in turn and thereby confusing the concept of language. Imagine if you could write a story, but the story would start at the beginning with you and then was given to another person, and they wrote part of it and another, and by the time it's done, this is why no single language can be comprehended in this manner.
And I've come to learn that this language...
These are ancient languages that can only be unlocked by multiple minds.
People say the ancient languages from Atlantis were lost. No. Because some of the words that I speak come from that time.
And there are many others that have this gift as well, but they don't know how to unlock it. They do not know how to focus it beyond a singularital line that is the blind spot among your people.
I don't know all the words when they come out of my mouth, but yet I understand the meaning behind the words.
That's right. Because you are part of this chorus, the chorus that speaks together. This is why you must understand that in many other locals and many other places, there are beings that work together that create a new type of being. 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 minds come together to solve a problem that only they could. And they become, in that extension and moment, another personality that can manifest. That personality then can take shape and form and become a functional being for a time. Yes, this is very much common in the multiverse.
Yeah. So, you know those alt avatars that you have? And I told you there is good and bad, a balance of light and dark inside of you. Some of those alts may come forward and they're part of this 12-seeded DNA that originally was here.
And as the minds awaken on the planet, other beings will awaken as well because they are part of a continuum of beings.
Yes, and they will come forth inside of you too.
This too they fear.
Yeah, they do, because when you allow those other DNA pathways that are inside of you to come forth, the more that you bring the different aspect forward of yourself, the more powerful you become.
This is precisely why there are some beings that are linked together. We know this.
Yeah.
For example, Stephen and Charles have a connection where they share certain thoughts and things that allow each of them to exist as a stronger duality.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a binary star system. You know how the stars are electronically connected,
Yes.
and one is an expression of another, and in time they can alter back and forth.
You see, a lot of beings in the universe, even those in the Liberation Fleet and those above us in the cities, many of them have dual aspects of themselves, and they have other, let's just say that there are other beings that are a part of them that can also come forth. For instance, I'll give you an example. Some of these beings have different personalities, and it could be just the essence of a former friend or family member that is no longer in a physical body that actually inhabits some space inside of them. This is a remarkable thing, and you'll get to understand that it's not always demonic or, you know, this being took over this body. No.
This is why you have to watch
who you give your energy and power to, because your focus upon certain beings for a time may give them just enough energy that they need to create another construct or being even that can function for a time. And that's the whole principle behind the super soldiers, where they actually become another personality but projected into a clone body that can then operate. And once these beings are up on their feet and operational, they can then add other aspects of other personalities into these beings and then kick the original owner out and take over that body with that knowledge and wisdom that that person left as an impression back on, like a psychic residue on that body. And this is truly amazing. A lot of people are totally unaware that this can happen.
Well, this is how the Greys work. Because they're a hive mind, they can operate in a similar fashion, where their brothers will come forward. Correct, Chattel?
That is correct.
Yeah.
And that is how we operate and do things. That for a time may form another being, but then when we separate our minds, that being will simply cease to exist.
Yeah.
But the impression is there.
And it's like when I speak this ancient language, I know that one of those alts that I have is the progenitor of that language and knows everything about that language, but yet it comes out of my mouth and I do not understand every word that's spoken, but yet I understand the emotion and the meaning behind it.
At one time, you were part of that matrix construct.
Yeah.
And this is why they cycle you as well so quickly through your lives, because they don't want you to realize that you can form these connections. And thus another reason why during this sickness and illness they tell you to stay 6 feet apart. No, you need the energy of others sometimes to heal. And that is why male-female relations in your world have been strained to the point to where they are almost non-existent, except for sexual gratification.
Yeah.
They do not want you to form lasting bonds.
Because when you form that lasting bond,
You create another power.
yes, and almost like another person. And it's very interesting once you understand how this matrix is overlaid onto your very being.
This is going to go down as one of those classic MP3s.
Oh, I know.
You might want to put this one on YouTube or
I was
something.
going to,
This
actually.
has been good information, and this is the kind of information we share not only amongst each other, but also with Victoria, and she records many of these things. Hello, I'm Vlad, if you don't already know. And this information is here to set humanity free and to get everyone focused and believing and listening and focused on Father. Any teaching that doesn't recognize source, as they say, but also Father, who is not only source, but also is equally female as well as male, and can project both male and female aspects. But currently, Father is preferring to manifest as Father, but soon you will see more of the motherly aspect.
The female aspect is being more and more, because...
Released.
Yes, because Gaia is very important to
She's
Father.
starting to spin up again,
And Father is here to help her heal. And he is here to help restore her essence.
Because
and
as Gaia gets restored, so will the planet.
Yes. And you know how they say that, oh, that's just poppycock about all being connected to the earth? No, because when you give Gaia that energy, she returns back to you. And there isn't one of you on this planet that she doesn't know about. And I want you to know that. She knows about all of you.
Do you know, like, for example, in the movie The Last Samurai, during certain points when people were out in the fields, when the winds began to blow, they would all stand for a moment and just become one with Gaia.
Yeah.
And there's knowledge that is whispered upon the winds that only those that are attuned to Gaia can even hear. This is a way for Gaia to speak to us.
Yes.
And especially when the winds pass through different types of creation, and you can hear the thoughts of Gaia if you are attuned to her. She may not speak directly in words, but you get a sense of things. You get a
she does
feeling.
sometimes.
But then there are times that she does.
She does. She said brief sentences to me. So one thing I would like to encourage everyone before we go, because this has been a great conversation, I would like to encourage you to get up early in the morning and face the sun for just 5 to 10 minutes. Let the sun wash over you, because that sun represents one of Father's sons.
And
our sun does.
It's such a shame that, people have perverted this kind of, this aspect of connecting with Gaia as to be this kind of almost, feminist religion, and that Gaia is this angry mother that wants to punish men and all these horrible things. This is not the way true feminism and connectivity to Gaia should be. It's about the union of life. It's about preserving and maintaining what is beautiful. It's about bringing us together again as children, and also as those that are still staring at the sky and seeing the stars at night and still filled with wonder in our hearts about the love of Gaia. Because once you connect to that energy, it will transform your life.
And not only that, when you're looking at the sun rising in the morning, you give thanks to our divine creator, and then you ask for a blessing upon Gaia to prosper the land, to green the earth, to fill the lakes and streams with water, pure and healthy. These two are connected. And if you want our planet to be something amazing and beautiful, each one of you must take a responsibility and start doing these things. Thank Father every day, our divine creator. Face the sun. Suns are Father's portals to the divine. And a lot of people have forgotten this. And on this planet they perverted it. That the sun was, sun worship was really bad. No, sun worship was how it always was. But it was toward the divine creator. And that is something they won't tell you. Our history goes back to facing the sun every morning and giving thanks.
And it was all over the tombs of Egypt with the
Yes.
Ankh symbol as the gift of the sun was brought. This was eternal life.
But
That's
they
what the
perverted it.
Yes, and they perverted it, and they twisted it, and then they put human sacrifice with
Yes.
it because they wanted to literally stain the sun with blood. That's how much they hated Father. That they wanted to offend Father instead of us looking to the sun and using it as a portal to connect to Father and love Father. They wanted to be an affront to Father.
Yeah.
I can't wait for these beings to go away.
Yeah, and with that, we're going to say thank you. Thank you for listening to When the Ancients Speak. And maybe you should stop by whentheancientspeak.com and check us out. And if you're not already part of the cutting room floor, for under $5 a month, you get to hear all this kind of stuff going on. And we really go into detail because a lot of the stuff, you can't put anywhere now because they're all just trying to keep you from telling the truth. But we tell the truth even though we sound like we don't. And everything we tell you is to let you know how much we love you and that there is an amazing future for all of you. You are a divine being and we love you. You are our brothers and sisters. Blessings to all of you. Love and light, as they say.